Do you know what unconditional love is? It's what your parents feel for you, and your grandparents love you even more. This is the story of a lovely bond that ties up a stubborn kid and a poor grandma who had never met before. Sang-woo is a 7-year-old boy who's traveling with a single mother to a small village. While sitting on the bus with the locals, he's already hating the atmosphere of the rural place. He refuses to stay, but they have no other option. His mother has gone bankrupt and needs someone to take care of Sang-woo while she looks for another job. During this difficult time, she decides to leave Sang-woo at her parents' house. She has never visited it since she left for Seoul at the age of 17. A 70-year-old mute woman lives there all by herself. Sang-woo's mother presents a few gifts to her mom and asks her to take care of Sang-woo for a few weeks. The old lady seemed happy to meet her daughter after such a long time, but the selfish daughter returns to Seoul immediately, leaving his son behind. The poor grandma doesn't complain and tries to communicate with her grandson. He's a spoiled little brat who shows no respect for his grandma and calls her bad names. He only eats the food his mother left for him, and the rest of the day he keeps playing video games. The grandma tries to interact with him, but Sang-woo keeps treating her rudely. Chol-yi, a kid in the neighborhood, comes over to meet the guest, but Sang-woo finds him disgusting and refuses to talk. All day he plays by himself, while the poor grandma does all the chores. The only thing she asks from Sang-woo is a little help in threading the needle so she can sew her worn-out shoes. One day, Sang-woo's game console ran out of batteries. He asks his grandma for some money, but she doesn't have any. Getting angry, he messes up the whole house and hides away grandma's shoes. She doesn't show a reaction and walks barefoot around to complete her daily chores. Sang-woo still doesn't feel sorry and steals grandma's hairpin to use it to buy batteries. The kind villagers guide him to all the nearby shops. He roams around all the markets but doesn't find suitable batteries. He misses all the things he had in Seoul. He took them for granted, but they were hard to get in a village. It's about to get dark and he has forgotten his way back home. Sang-woo starts crying, and fortunately a kind man helps him find the way back. The grandma was looking forward to his return and felt at ease seeing him. The next day, Sang-woo wakes up to find the sound of rain. He rushes to pick up the clothes, but the rain stops immediately. Finally, he starts acting like a good boy and hangs the clothes again to dry. He tries to keep the same order as he still doesn't want to admit his concern for grandma. But she has already seen everything and feels so happy about the change. As a reward, she asks Sang-woo what he wants to eat for dinner. The grandma rushes to the market and returns in the heavy rain while holding a chicken. She spends hours cooking dinner, but it wasn't what Sang-woo wanted. He throws it away and goes back to sleep. The innocent lady doesn't get angry at all. She picks up the food and leaves it for Sang-woo to eat later. As she guessed, his hunger wakes him up in the middle of the night and he eats up the chicken without a complaint. The next morning, grandma doesn't wake up on time. Sang-woo gets worried and checks on her. She's running a high fever because of the heavy work she did the previous day. Sang-woo feels sorry for her and covers her nicely with a blanket. He also returns her hairpin and prepares breakfast for her. Afterward, he gets out for a walk. There he meets a cute village girl, Hae-yeon. Sang-woo shows his interest in her, but she behaves rudely with him and refuses to interact. Once grandma recovers, Sang-woo decides to give her a helping hand as often as he can. They travel together to the market to sell melons. On the way, grandma notices that Sang-woo may need a new pair of shoes. After spending hours under the sun, grandma earns enough money to buy a pair of shoes for her grandson and treats him to lunch. There's also a battery shop there, but Sang-woo doesn't want her grandma to spend anymore. He has finally realized her unconditional love. But in the end, he's just a little kid who makes mistakes again and again. On the way back, grandma asks Sang-woo if he wants a snack. He points toward another kid eating a choco pie. Grandma picks up its wrapper and rushes toward a shop. It's run by one of her friends who offers her some extra pies for free. When grandma returns, Sang-woo leaves her behind to ride the bus with Hae-yeon. He even refuses to carry grandma's heavy bags. But the girl still ignores him and keeps talking to Chol-yi. Sang-woo regrets his decision and waits at the bus stop for his grandma. With the passage of each hour, his regrets grow deeper, and he promises himself to treat grandma better. When she gets off the bus, Sang-woo rushes to carry her bag and also leaves a choco pie for her. Just like the other kids, he believes that a sweet treat can make anyone happy. Unfortunately, little Romeo can't get Hae-yeon out of his heart. He gets out to look for her again, but she prefers playing with Chol-yi. Sang-woo gets jealous and plays a trick. He shouts out that a crazy cow is following Chol-yi. The poor kid gets scared and runs for his life. Coincidentally, a cow comes that way for real, and Chol-yi assumes that Sang-woo was helping him. The karma hits soon. Later that night, Sang-woo gets diarrhea, but he's afraid of going to the toilet alone and asks grandma to accompany him. The old lady keeps sitting beside him until he finishes his job. One can never pay back the sacrifices their parents made for one. The next day, Sang-woo plays a trick on Chol-yi again, but this time he gets caught. He doesn't have an explanation for his mean act and runs away. While returning home, Sang-woo finds Hae-yeon, who offers him to play together. Hearing this, he feels being in the seventh sky. Sang-woo rushes to collect all his toys and gets ready to meet Hae-yeon. He wants to look perfect, but his hair seems a little long. His grandma helps him cut his hair, but a miscommunication leads to a shorter haircut, which Sang-woo doesn't find attractive at all. He starts whining all around the house to find a cure. After calming down a little bit, he accompanies grandma to visit a patient. It was an old man counting his last days. This event makes Sang-woo realize the mortality of life. It's a pity to see these old people alone during the last stages of their life. He worries his grandma may get lonely too. The next morning, Sang-woo fixes his temper. He ties a cloth to his head and gets ready to meet Hae-yeon. Grandma suggests he wear the new shoes, but he doesn't seem to like them. She also hands over his game console packed in an old gift wrapper. Sang-woo doesn't pay much attention to it and puts it in his pocket. Hae-yeon wasn't like what Sang-woo thought. She takes away all his expensive toys in exchange for a mere stuffed toy. Moreover, he slips down the cliff on his way back. Sang-woo gets up to drag himself, but then he hears Chol-yi shouting about the crazy cow. Sang-woo assumes it to be a trick and doesn't pay attention, but the actual cow is behind him. Luckily, Chol-yi saves him. Sang-woo regrets how he treated his actual friend and kept running after the mean Hae-yeon. Then he remembers his game console. The sweet grandma had packed it up with some money to buy batteries. Now he feels more ashamed for all the harsh behavior he did. These thoughts make him cry out loud on returning home. Grandma gets worried and wipes away his tears softly. She has good news for him. His mother sent a letter in which she wrote about her new job. But before going back, he wants to make sure his grandma can contact him. He tries to teach her writing, but it's too complicated for the old lady. So he tells grandma to send just a blank letter whenever she needs help. He will rush to her right away. Saying this, they both start crying. Within this small passage of time, they have formed a precious bond. Sang-woo also threads several needles for grandma's use, as in the future he won't be there to do it. Days pass by quickly and Sang-woo's mother arrives to pick him up. She thanks grandma for her hospitality and asks Sang-woo if he wants to say anything. Sang-woo hands over a bunch of cards and gets on the bus. The poor grandma keeps knocking at the window to hear a goodbye but gets no response. As the bus starts moving, Sang-woo breaks through his thoughts and realizes what he's leaving behind. He rushes to the back window to say goodbye to his selfless grandma. He loves her back too, but is too shy to express it. Later, when grandma checks the cards he left, she realizes the concern Sang-woo has for her. He had prepared "missing you" and "I'm sick" postcards, so grandma could easily communicate with him when needed. This gesture is enough for the old lady to forget about all the harsh treatment his grandson did. Now she only remembers that there's someone who's always thinking about her well-being. When we are busy growing up, we forget about our parents who are growing old each day. They don't want expensive gifts. They only ask for a little attention and a few sweet words that will make their day. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like and comment. Thank you.